In the remote corners of the world, far from the clamor of cities and highways, there are communities that have lived in harmony with nature for thousands of years. These are the world's indigenous tribes, guardians of ancient traditions, languages, and knowledge passed down through generations. But today, many of these tribes face an unprecedented threat, a threat that, if not addressed, could lead to their extinction. This is the story of modern indigenous tribes on the verge of disappearing, pushed to the edge by the relentless march of globalization. Their languages, some of the oldest in the world, are vanishing at an alarming rate, taking with them unique ways of seeing and understanding the world. The wisdom of the elders, the stories of the ancestors, and the songs of the land are all at risk of being lost forever. As the modern world encroaches on their territories, these tribes are fighting to preserve their way of life, their identity, and their very existence. Yet amidst the challenges there is hope. Young leaders are rising, communities are uniting, and the fight to protect their heritage continues. Join us as we explore the stories of these resilient communities, their struggles, their triumphs, and their unwavering spirit in the face of adversity. Deep within the Amazon rainforest, more than 300 indigenous groups have lived in isolation for centuries. For tribes like the Yanomami, the Ashaninka, and the Awa, the forest is not just home, it is life itself. Here they hunt, gather, and practice ancient agricultural techniques, relying on their deep connection with the land for survival. These tribes have preserved their languages, spiritual beliefs, and knowledge of medicinal plants that are unknown to modern science. Their way of life has remained unchanged for generations, but the outside world is closing in on them. The Amazon is being cleared at an alarming rate. Logging, mining, and agriculture are cutting deeper into the forest, threatening not only the environment but also the survival of these indigenous groups. The Awa tribe, once called the world's most endangered tribe, has seen their territory reduced to a fraction of what it once was. Illegal logging continues to invade their land, driving them from their homes and decimating the resources they depend on. For the Awa and many others, globalization is not an abstract concept. It is a force that brings displacement, disease, and violence. Without their forests, these tribes cannot survive. And as the forest disappears, so too does their culture, their language, and their way of life. The children of these tribes grow up learning the ways of their ancestors, absorbing the stories, skills, and wisdom passed down through generations. Despite the challenges, many tribes are fighting back, working to protect their land and preserve their heritage. International support and awareness are growing, but the battle is far from over. The future of the Amazonian tribes depends on the world's commitment to safeguarding their home and their way of life. Off the coast of India, in the Andaman Islands, lives the Jarawa, a tribe that has resisted contact with the outside world for millennia. Until recently, the Jarawa lived in complete isolation, relying on hunting, fishing, and gathering in their lush island home. Their connection to their environment is profound, and their knowledge of the land is unparalleled. But this isolation, which once protected the Jarawa from outside influence, is now under threat. In recent years, a highway has been built through the heart of their territory, bringing with it outsiders, tourists, settlers, and illegal poachers. The Jarawa have become an attraction, photographed and gawked at like living relics of a distant past. Diseases to which they have no immunity now spread quickly, and their hunting grounds are shrinking. The influx of outsiders has created a fragile and dangerous situation. The Jarawa's way of life, once secure in isolation, is now on the brink of collapse. As globalization encroaches on their land, their future becomes uncertain. If the outside world continues to invade their territory unchecked, the Jarawa's existence, as they have known it, may soon come to an end. Despite these challenges, the Jarawa continue to practice their traditions, passing down their rich cultural heritage to the next generation. Their resilience is a testament to their enduring spirit, but the pressures from the outside world are relentless. Efforts are being made to protect their land and culture, but the balance is delicate. The future of the Jarawa hangs in the balance, a poignant reminder of the fragility of indigenous cultures in the face of modernity. In the arid deserts of Namibia, the Himba people have adapted to one of the harshest environments on Earth. For centuries, they have thrived as semi-nomadic herders, following their cattle across the desert and maintaining a deep connection to their land and traditions. The Himba's distinctive culture is visible in every aspect of their daily life, from their traditional dress to their intricate hairstyles and body art. But even here, in the remote deserts of southern Africa, the forces of modernization and globalization are reaching the Himba. Large-scale infrastructure projects like the construction of dams and the expansion of mining operations are threatening the Himba's ancestral lands. The Ova Himba have seen their grazing lands shrink and their access to water restricted. The struggle for land rights has brought them into direct conflict with the government and private corporations. Despite these challenges, the Himba are fighting to preserve their way of life. Their struggle is not just for survival, but for the right to exist on their own terms, to protect their culture, and to maintain their connection to the land that has sustained them for generations. But with each passing year, their traditional way of life faces more pressure. The elders of the Himba community play a crucial role in passing down their knowledge and traditions to the younger generations. Through storytelling and teaching traditional skills, they ensure that their rich cultural heritage is not lost. Rituals and ceremonies remain an integral part of Himba life, reinforcing their spiritual connection to the land and their ancestors. The social structure of the Himba is built on strong community bonds, with each member playing a vital role in the survival and continuity of their culture. Despite the challenges they face, the Himba remain resilient, holding on to their cultural pride and looking towards a future where their traditions can continue to thrive. In the mountains and forests of Papua New Guinea, hundreds of distinct indigenous tribes speak over 800 languages, representing one of the most culturally diverse regions in the world. These tribes have lived in harmony with nature for thousands of years, relying on hunting, agriculture, and traditional knowledge to survive. For the tribes of Papua New Guinea, their languages, stories, and spiritual beliefs are intimately connected to the land. The loss of their forests would mean the loss of their identity. But deforestation, driven by logging companies and agricultural expansion, is now threatening to erase both the land and the people who depend on it. Many indigenous groups in Papua New Guinea have already been displaced by logging operations and land grabs. Forced to move to urban areas, they struggle to maintain their cultural identity in a rapidly changing world. The younger generation, separated from their traditional ways, risks losing the knowledge and languages that have been passed down for centuries. The loss of these tribes would mean the loss of some of humanity's most ancient wisdom, knowledge of plants, ecosystems, and sustainable living practices. As globalization encroaches on their world, they stand at a crossroads. The decisions made today will determine whether these cultures will survive for future generations or disappear forever. Efforts are being made to preserve their rich heritage through cultural festivals and community gatherings. Educational programs are also being introduced to teach the younger generation traditional skills and knowledge. International support and global awareness campaigns are crucial in the fight to protect these tribes. With unity and determination, there is hope that the indigenous peoples of Papua New Guinea can secure a future where their cultures thrive. Across the globe, indigenous tribes are fighting for their survival. Their ways of life, shaped by centuries of knowledge and tradition, are vanishing in the face of modernization, deforestation, and exploitation. These are not just isolated communities, they are living testaments to humanity's diversity and resilience. As the world grows ever more connected, the forces of globalization continue to push into even the most remote corners of the earth. If we do not act, if we do not listen to the voices of those on the brink of extinction, we risk losing not just the tribes themselves, but the rich cultural heritage they carry. Efforts are being made worldwide to protect these communities, but much more needs to be done. The future of these tribes depends on our collective action and commitment to preserving their way of life. By supporting indigenous rights and promoting sustainable practices, we can help ensure that these vibrant cultures continue to thrive. Let us not forget that the survival of these tribes is intertwined with the health of our planet and the richness of human diversity. Together, we can make a difference. Together, we can ensure that the voices of these tribes are not silenced. The time to act is now. Let us stand in solidarity with indigenous tribes and protect their invaluable heritage for future generations.